Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days. Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days. Waiver gems and trade block plays. Win today and plan for days.
Win your league, stack that bread, or start a boom and lose instead. Sunday Surefire, let's go.
Sunday Surefire Podcast. It's your host tonight, Aaron Downtown Brown. I got the co-host with me, Ethan Weaver.
Aaron, how we doing?
Pretty good, my man, Ethan. We are talking the Combine, post-draft risers and fallers tonight. A lot going on in the offseason of Dynasty, to keep track of. I think even before we came online, we were talking, just so much to keep track of with the NFL season. You got free agency, you got, trades that's going on right about now, and you got the Combine too. So a lot of action-packed, really just things to track all season long. So we're going to talk post-draft risers and fallers. But first, Ethan, any comments just overall over how the Combine went and just overall thoughts before we dive in?
Yeah, first of all, this time of year is just great for just monitoring player value. As you said, we have the Combine, you have free agency coming up. We just finished the transition and franchise tag season here to see what players are going to reach free agency and which ones are not. So it's a very exciting time of the year. A lot of players changing teams. We're getting another piece of the puzzle with the Combine. So very, very exciting time as a dynasty manager.
For sure. And one thing, it's always funny to talk about Combine and when you relate it to dynasty, I wish I could almost just throw a disclaimer on this episode too, because, as the Combine doesn't always, translate into, automatic studs or duds in the NFL, but that's all we have right now. We have their college tape and we got, how they're performing and, putting numbers on a paper, right? So sometimes it can affect their draft capital. Sometimes it doesn't, how poor or well they perform. But yeah, that's just kind of the disclaimer, and it can go either way. And sometimes neither effect, right? We have guys that, have an insane Combine and they're duds. So it really goes either way. Any comment over that as well, Ethan?
No, it does. And I've grown up in my older age as a dynasty manager. Back in the day, I used to take this Combine and really overreact to some of the performances. I remember one time I had a very high draft pick, I believe the 101, and at that time Josh Jacobs was the consensus 101, I believe, in a single QB league, and I overreacted to his poor Combine. I traded out of it, and I did not get what that pick was deserving of. And we got to remember, running backs, receivers, obviously we like to see our running backs and receivers with a lot of juice, but that's not the end all be all. As you said, there are so many wide receivers that have come into the Combine, have just fell flat in their face. T. Higgins at his pro day is one that comes to mind. He was in the 4.5s. He had like a 31-inch vert or whatever it was. And obviously he's a great receiver. You look at the running backs who struggled in the Combine, Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, and these guys are studs on our fantasy team. So honestly, if you're just looking at historical data, tight end is the one position where pure athleticism correlates so well. Like your Kittles, your McBrides, your Brock Bowers, even though he didn't test. We all know Brock Bowers is a freak, but it's definitely, you got to temper your reactions to these Combine numbers. But overall, this class, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how athletic this class is. So I'm excited to get into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely excited to jump right in. And, you mentioned high-performing tight ends, and that's just a wonderful segue to the first guy we're going to talk for a riser or a winner over this draft Combine. And, Ethan, I'll let you first talk Kenyon Sadiq here out of Oregon, tight end. Got him as a riser.
Yes, he's definitely a riser for me. As the commish said in his post-Combine mock draft episode, I don't want to double count his athleticism too much as Sadiq. If you watch his tape, if you know the player, he's an athletic specimen. But I don't think anybody expected him to come out, run a 4.39 40, 43.5-inch vertical, which I believe set the tight end record for all of like 5 minutes until another guy we're gonna talk about broke it. 11-foot 1-inch broad jump and 26 reps on the bench. Sadiq is an animal. I hear people calling him Sadiq the Freak just because he's just an animal. But what this does for him, like I said, I don't want to double count it, but I think this locks in as a top 15 NFL draft pick, which in turn just skyrockets his dynasty value in terms of safety and the odds that he's going to hit. So, I mean, we've had a lot of success lately with early drafted tight ends, and I think Sadiq is going to be the next one.
Yeah, I love it. It's just so exciting to see. I mean, we especially, you start seeing, position breaking records. We had that a couple times. Another one we'll talk maybe at the end of the episode too. But yeah, I think Sadiq, Sadiq the Freak. It's definitely exciting as a Chiefs fan with Kelsey contemplating retirement and the Chiefs having a top 10.
Oh boy.
I mean, it's got my wheel. Forget Love. Let's go with Sadiq here. If you're a Chiefs fan, but yeah, definitely as a fantasy manager, gotta be exciting if you got a top pick in this year's rookie draft too. So yeah, outstanding numbers. Love us. I think, as you said, just tight end combine scores, they help so much when you're looking, when you're on the clock in your dynasty draft to try to figure out even just the deep tight ends. You're just trying to look at someone who can maybe get on the field and make a name for himself, and they got a slightly fast 40. You're like, okay, he's got a little bit of speed. That sometimes that's all you got to go off of it, when you're deep on the clock. But yeah, Sadiq should be a high end pick, and the 4.39 dash is definitely amazing at the position. All right.
Yeah.
Well, moving. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, especially, I mean, when you're 6'3", 241 pounds, so it's very impressive.
That's right. I mean, everybody freaked out with Kyle Pitts, athletic ability, in that draft. He was like talked about it being the top 3 pick in that class too. So yeah, I mean, we're just outperforming themselves in the combine nowadays too. So it's definitely exciting. Very exciting to see where he ends up in this draft. And as you said, yeah, I think his capital in the real NFL draft rose too. But moving on, let's talk about Mike Washington. What do you got about the running back from Arkansas here?
Honestly, I think he is arguably the biggest riser of any positional player coming out of the combine. Mike Washington had an amazing combine, and he was definitely emotional after he ran that 4.33 40-yard dash. I mean, when you're a player, obviously you've worked so hard to give yourself the opportunity to get to the combine, give yourself an opportunity to get drafted. You go out there at 6'1", 223 pounds, and run a 4.33 40, fastest time of any running back. It's hard not to get emotional because you just made yourself some money. You gave yourself the opportunity to be in a day 2 potential pick here, and he is. I mean, he's been in college for a little while. Was around for 5 years. He was in Buffalo for 3, New Mexico State, and then Arkansas. But if you just look at his numbers coming out of the combine, 4.33 40, as I said, 39-inch vert, 10-foot 8-inch broad. I mean, just one of the most athletic running backs in the class. And I like this tape. His yards per carry this season was over 6. He was I thought he was pretty good around the line of scrimmage. Not as creative in space, but just a big-bodied, explosive runner, and who, when given the opportunity to get that space, can really take it to the house from anywhere. So he's definitely a massive riser in my book. Considering a lot of the other running backs that we like didn't test, it's it's hard not to vault him way up the board. I don't want to, like I said, overreact, but I am very excited to see where Mike Washington lands if he can sneak into the maybe back end of the second round with his performance. Even a third round selection would be very ideal for him. But definitely a guy I'm keeping my eye on closely as the NFL draft approaches.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Definitely rose the ranks in the running back stock for sure. I think we had him. Kamish just posted his blog. We just had an episode with the top 12 picks. Where did he go? He go 2-1, I want to say. Yeah, 2-1. So
yeah,
right around the turn.
And honestly, one of the big negatives for him, which he's going to have to clean up, is his ball security. He had 7 fumbles, I believe, in 2024 and 2025. So he's a big explosive back that can tote the rock and score long touchdowns. But you're going to be stapled to the pine if you can't hold on to the ball.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Hopefully, he doesn't end up in. Well, I guess though, in the old days, it was you don't want to end up on the Patriots, but I guess they're a little more accepting these days.
Oh yeah. Ramondre Stevenson fumbles every other play. Right. Well, in the beginning of the season, he cleaned that up. He cleaned it up.
He did. But yeah, no, definitely a thing to watch. Is it could get you in the doghouse, but yeah, definitely climb the ranks. As far as the stock goes, and yeah, like his size and speed, he was definitely an exciting college player, and hopefully that translates. It gets us good glimpses and what's yet to come in the NFL. And as you said, yeah, he might have jumped some of his counterparts in this class. So good call out there with Mike Washington. Let's move on to our second tight end. We're going to talk about this Eli Stowers.
Eli Stowers, another athletic freak at the tight end position. My tight end 2 thus far in this class, and I think he, again, earned himself some money with his combine performance. He is the person who beats Sadiq's record vertical jump with an amazing 45.5 inches. Just such an explosive athlete. 11'3" broad, 4'5", 140 at 6'4", 239 pounds. This is a guy that can be a matchup nightmare. He is a good offensive weapon, but he definitely needs to be a more able run blocker. He's a quarterback convert, so he only has 3 years of tight end experience. So he might not be as willing to get dirty in the run game. You know how those quarterbacks can be. Don't want to get hurt, right? But he's definitely a guy that if he can develop a somewhat capable run blocker, it will allow him to be on the field in run situations. The offense can be less predictable, as Commissioner was talking about in his mock draft episode. But it's just another tight end that has freakish athleticism, that is just a dart throw that I want to throw 100% of the time, because these are the guys that can be difference makers at the tight end position at the NFL. So just an unbelievable combine by Eli Stowers.
Yeah, just another example where, I know 2026 we weren't, jumping at our TVs to watch the combine, but they're definitely outperformed. Very exciting. And Stowers, just another example there. Checking, so he weighed in at about 239, so about 240. 6'4". So yeah, hopefully he kind of works into the tight end mentality. It's great from a scheme standpoint that he was I want to say that he's a converted quarterback. I think that goes for him as far as on the mental standpoint of the NFL. I think teams will like that. But as you said, there's a lot physically that tight ends have to do with the blocking and the wham blocks and different things they gotta do. So yeah, hopefully he can keep toughening it up get a new good nutrition and yeah, and
Bulking
catch some
season. Let's
footballs.
go.
That's right. But yeah, good call out there, Stowers. Yeah, definitely second tight end on the board that I'm looking at as well. But let's move on to our last riser for tonight and talk Skylar Bell.
Yes, Skylar Bell had to give my Yukon Huskies some love, as I am from Connecticut. But Skylar Bell, I think he put himself on the NFL radar. A lot of people probably don't know who Skylar Bell is. He was at Wisconsin for the first 3 years of his career, then transferred to Yukon. He was a pretty popular player when he entered the transfer portal. A lot of people will say his massive production spike the last couple of years was due to competition as he played at UConn. But UConn, the last couple of seasons, took a major jump, and they're definitely trending in the right direction. Skylar Bell is a big reason for that. In the last season, he had 101 catches for 1,278 yards, 13 touchdowns, ranking top 3 in catches, yards, and touchdowns in all of FBS. So Skylar Bell definitely showed out, and he showed out at the combine. He's 6 feet, 192, 4.4 flat 40-yard dash, 41-inch vert, and 11-foot 1-inch broad jump. So not only does he have the production profile the last couple of years, he also has the athletic profile that you're looking for. I think this kind of performance and production in college, I don't see him sliding past the third round. I could even see him creeping into the second round. So I think Skylar Bell, for people that don't know who he is, I think he just put himself on that radar, and so did a lot of people in this class. There was a lot of guys that, I mean, I haven't heard of, and you look at their numbers, you're like, holy cow, where'd this guy come from? So, as I said, just one of those combine classes where you look at the board and there's just so many guys that just blew up. And I'll let you touch on anything with Skylar Bell. Then, if you want me to go through a couple honorable mentions before we get to our losers, I can do that.
Sure. Yeah, no, Skylar Bell, I think just talking more overall where, he's just a good example where, these guys come out of woodwork where, depending on what college team they're on or how far they made it, but they're most likely studs in college, and they're at the combine, but when they show out of the combine, it just gets more attention, and that's how you can rise the ranks. As they riser, we have this riser for fantasy, but they really do rise the ranks in the combine. People slip, scouts, they a lot's on the line with these scouts and GMs. So these are you got like the Sky Moores of the world. You got guys that have these great combines where like as we said in the beginning, so it goes vice versa, but it definitely helps their stock and helps them go to the next level. And I think Bell's just a perfect example where like he's he might be a a late second, a mid to late second now, just due to rising ranks. And obviously we'll do a lot of post draft mocks as well to see where they what the scouts think. But I mean, we're amateurs in the game compared to them, but we'll definitely see. Oh, we got a comment here. Good production, good athlete. Skylar Bell checking a lot of boxes. Agreed. Thank you, Li Gon TD, for the comment.
Yeah, no, he does. I mean, as I said, great production profile last couple of years at UConn, and the athleticism was displayed at the combine. And he's a guy that UConn based their entire offense around him. They gave him the ball in the rushing game, the receiving game. They just wanted to get the ball in his hands. I mean, as you see, his targets, 144 targets in a college season is ridiculous. So he was, like I said, a huge reason for UConn's ascension into somewhat of relevance compared to how bad they've been over the last few years.
For sure. what we'll do is we'll do some honorable mentions, and actually in the comments, since we are live tonight, anybody want to throw some honorable mentions, and we'll let you add to the show that way too, as well as we have a comment here on the screen. So keep the comments up. We'll definitely add them as they go along. But let's move. Let's actually go to followers, and then we'll just list. We're gonna have a little Q&A session and some honorable mentions here at the end of the show. Now this was a little controversial here. I have Carnell Tate as my follower tonight, and I think on the show we had just a few weeks ago, I said Carnell Tate was one of my favorite wide receivers coming into the draft, but I think he just left a little bit more to be desired, left a little bit on the table with his combine. I mean, I think when you go in to the draft and you decline, I mean, he declined the vertical, the broad jump, the 3-cone, 20-yard bench. He pretty much declined everything but the 40-yard dash and the 10-yard split, which is 40 was a 4.52 his official time, which actually ranked 27th out of out of 34 receivers who ran at the combine. So, being one of the elite, prospects coming into the draft when you only elect to do one, basically one thing before, all eyes are on you and you run it pretty poorly, doesn't really go too well. So I want to say like combine wise, definitely was a faller there. I think, with his, his 2025 season, having a 17 yards per catch season with Ohio State, that big playability, deep threat, it makes you wonder. It's like, okay, is this the scheme? Is this, is this more Ohio State, what's in the water type thing? But, or, what's the full story? Why he didn't, why he declined all the other, more agility scores there too. So, being able to just look at his 40, that's all he gave us, right? And he ran the 4.52. So, I still like him. I like his tape. I like Carnell Tate, but I mean, he could have lost a little bit of draft capital. And obviously, I mean, there's some crazy leagues out there too, where you're drafting these rookies before the NFL draft. They happen as well. So, I think if you really got to look at this and you're trying to anticipate what the scouts are going to do, that could have dropped his stock as well. So, Ethan, any thoughts on Carnell Tate?
Yeah, I think this is a classic example of let your fellow dynasty managers overreact to a, I guess, quote unquote, slower 40-yard dash by Carnell Tate. But Carnell Tate, I mean, he did have he had a lot of explosive plays. I think he had 7 touchdowns over 40 yards. But Carnell Tate, he's still going to be, in my opinion, a top 20 pick. That's his floor. I would be shocked if he fell outside the top 20. I mentioned it before. T. Higgins, who people like to compare Carnell Tate to, he had a very low burst score. He ran, I think, a 4.54 at his pro day. I don't believe T. Higgins ran at the NFL Combine, but I would not overreact to Carnell Tate running a 4.52, 4.53. He is 6'2". He's lanky. He showed so much on tape. Those OSU receivers, they always seem to show out in the NFL. So I'm not worried at all by Carnell Tate. And if this drops Carnell Tate in some people's minds, then I guess we can reap the rewards in our rookie drafts. I don't think it's going to hurt him too much. I still think he's going to get the draft capital.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I mean, I hated to do it because he was one of my favorite prospects, but I mean, as far as just you just kind of want to. Actually, this comment I have sharing on the screen here, 6'2". He's a sub 200-pound receiver as well. You just wanted to see him run a little bit faster, and because we want him for that deep playability, but we also know he can go up and get the ball. So. It'd be interesting to know, like what his broad or vertical would have been if he did choose to, performing at the combine. So I agree with you. I'm not really too worried, but it's just something. It's something that could affect his stock slightly, but it couldn't at the same time. He might still be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, and then to the comment here, 192 pounds at 6'2", that's a slight frame. So to that point, you would like to see Tate put on a little size and embrace that alpha X role. But in terms of like him skipping the agility, so many of the top prospects not only skip the agility, they skip the 40. But the big thing with the agility is these athletes aren't used to running the 20-yard short shuttle or the 3-cone on the Lucas Oil Stadium turf. So they're more comfortable doing that at their pro day where they practice on this turf all the time. They're going to be comfortable. They know how they're going to react on the turf, and they can get the best time possible, because the last thing they want to do is go out there in the 3-cone or the 20-yard shuttle and put up a poor time. So that's a little insight, because especially these top prospects who are going to, who they know their names are going to be called early. I mean, it really doesn't benefit them too much to even test, which I don't like to see. I mean, I loved when Jamar Chase came out. He knew he was the first receiver off the board. Everybody knew he was the best receiver in college football, and he went out there and did every single combine workout and absolutely crushed it. I just love that as a competitor. He's like, hey, I know I'm the best one here. I'm going to prove it right now. I don't need to wait. I don't need to wait to get to LSU to make sure that conditions are perfect. I'm going to show you right now that I'm the best, most athletic receiver here. So I love that.
I agree with you too. And I think that's another reason why I want to talk Tate, where, hopefully this doesn't just translate into, other qualities or work ethic or what, as well, where hopefully he just steps in and carves out a role. But yeah, we'll definitely see. I still like Tate. But yeah, it just goes to say, a lot of times they come in leaner this time of the year. I mean, they just had a full season. They got to train. They're doing more track training as well. And so they drop a few pounds. Hopefully he can bulk up once he hits an NFL team and get on a good program. And yeah, they're still rookies. They do gain 5 to 10 pounds per year, the good ones as well. So we'll definitely see Tate's journey.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. There's a lot of time to put some mass on here.
That's right. I mean, going from experience. I mean, we all know how that goes. It's not that hard there, Tate.
I know we're talking good mass here. We're talking good mass.
Yeah. Okay. Good mass. That's right. Yeah. All right. We'll talk about another prospect that, and I think a lot of people liked his college tape as well, is Emmett Johnson. I have him as a faller this year, or after this combine too, he ran a 4.56 40, which was actually the slowest among the running backs who ran at the combine this year. 35-inch vertical, which was actually pretty decent for a running back there. 3-cone was 7.32. So as I said, so speed, slowest among all the running backs. His jump numbers were solid, not quite elite compared to other explosive backs in the class, but and his agility drills were kind of landed, middle to lower tier for the running backs as well. So just pure numbers. Emmett Johnson didn't really impress. I mean, it just really leaves room for the guys like Washington, who really showed out to jump guys like Emmett Johnson. I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at this, is like when you rack and stack guys like this at the combine. I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing, where it's like, all right, a guy like Washington has showed out. I mean, in my books, he's jumping Emmett Johnson. So my 2 cents there on Johnson. Any comments there on Emmett Johnson as well?
I think it creates a nice buying opportunity for Emmett Johnson. Obviously, this could all go away if he gets good draft capital, but I compare him to Bucky Irving, Bucky Irving ran a 4.55. His vertical was a 29.5-inch and his broad jump was 9'7". So obviously Emmett Johnson, in terms of the explosion, was much better than Bucky Irving, and their 40 time was basically similar at a similar weight to Emmett Johnson's 202 pounds. But and yeah, to this comment, it kind of goes back to the Ja'Marr Chase, and it's funny. It's funny that this commenter said this, because I thought the same thing when I looked at Emmett Johnson's combine. He was one of the very few players to actually do everything, and it was it's like I said, it's nice to see. You're going out there, you're competing, you're showing the NFL, you're not afraid to compete, and like, hey, here I am, here's what I can do. And I don't think Emmett Johnson, it's kind of a theme of the fallers here, I don't think any of these guys really killed their stock at all. I think what it did was hopefully it put some seeds of doubt in other dynasty managers, and you're able to get an Emmett Johnson a little cheaper than you were before, because I still think he's going to get decent draft capital. We've seen this over and over and over again, where guys like Kyren Williams, I mean, I remember when Kyren Williams came out to his combine, and everybody just was like, oh, he's dead. He's not an NFL back. And now look at how good he's been. So I'll repeat it over and over and over again. You cannot overreact to the combine, especially at like the running back and wide receiver positions. It comes back to bite you over and over.
I agree. And actually, I'll slip in another comment. So this is on Instagram, so I can't show it on the screen here, but an Instagram question: thoughts on Singleton and his teammate Allen. So Kaytron Allen out of Penn State. Talked about these guys pretty good detail over our running back episode, and then Kamish's mock that he just had. I think these kind of our shared thoughts, where Kaytron Allen was a very solid running back at Penn State. Great numbers, competing with the Barkley numbers, as we mentioned. Nothing really like sticks out on paper as far on the Allen side. I think the way, I think the way I'm thinking of it, and Kamish as well, is like, if you want to take a home run swing, at least right now, before we know landing spots and whatnot, I think we like Singleton's upside. He just, as we mentioned, he just kind of got that wide receiver frame and kind of more of the big playability. Also being the top running back out of high school too, and you just kind of saw that athletic because of that athletic ability. So I'm kind of on team Singleton side as of right now, but as you said, like post draft and everything, we'll kind of I definitely do take in consideration what people land, and can you carve out a third down role, or be first or second on the depth chart. So, Ethan, thoughts on, if you got to pick right now, Allen or Singleton out of Penn State?
I'm going for the juice. I'm going Singleton. Unfortunately, I believe Singleton hurt his foot at the Senior Bowl, so he was unable to perform the combine, unfortunately, because it would have been awesome to see his 40-yard dash. But he did come in at 6 feet 219, which, if he's as explosive as we think he is, and he's fast as we think he is, that's pretty decent size. Kaytron Allen came in at 5'11", 216, so still decent size. I think Kaytron Allen is going to be more like, I don't know, a guy like Tyler Algier, who a guy like Lance Zierlein comped him to, more so a backup running back. Maybe he can come in the league as Tyler Algier, be a productive number two, and then maybe get an opportunity in free agency. But a guy like Singleton, he's a guy that I think can enter the NFL and be a difference maker on an NFL team. Unfortunately, we don't know either of their metrics because they didn't test, which is unfortunate. As I said earlier, a lot of the guys that we discussed on previous episodes for the running backs or wide receiver positions, a lot of them didn't test. So it's a little unfortunate, but Kaytron Allen, he didn't test, but he did perform relatively well in the on-field drills. So they're two guys that I think can contribute to an NFL team. Obviously, draft capital is going to be massive for both those, because draft capital equals opportunity. So sometimes, no matter how much you like a player, if they get drafted in the 6th or 7th round, the odds of them getting the opportunity to be a difference maker on your fantasy team go way down.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's a great great time for that comment. It's a great segue into the next guy I'm gonna talk about. I think I put Katron Allen and Jadarian Price almost the same in my book, as far as how I'm looking at them. Where I like what I see on tape with both of them. I think they have great vision. Price actually ran back kicks and punts in college, as being that second running back to Love last year. But as a follower for the combine, he had a relatively solid performance, but just another one where like nothing truly sticks out. I mean, he ran a sub 4.5, I guess. Well, 4.49. It was sixth out of his counterparts. 35-inch vertical, which was eighth. His broad jump, 10.4, which was third, right? And then a 21 bench reps as well. So slightly undersized back in the form of weight too, where hopefully he can gain it, maybe another 10 pounds as well. But yeah, I'm kind of putting, I know like Daniel Jeremiah is this is one of his favorite running backs in the class. He's already, ramping him up as far as price goes. But to me, he kind of just performed kind of how I thought he would. Just nothing's really gonna, pop off the charts from the combine too much. He's a great player, and then you got to just watch him on tape. And again, as you said with Katron Allen, Price might be another one where if he lands on like a higher volume offense where he can fall in the end zone. We even said a sneaking team next year could potentially be Seattle, right? We don't know what Kenneth Walker's going, Charbonnet's injured. If one of those guys who have a nose for the end zone can end up with a good defensive team, be great. So I guess I'm talking good things about Price, but I'm labeling him as a faller where he didn't jump out at anybody. He had a relatively good he didn't crush himself doing the combine, but he really didn't jump out at you either, which I think that's kind of like his tape as well. So Ethan, any thoughts over Jadarian Price here?
The only reason why Jadarian Price is, I guess, on this faller list, quote unquote, is because, as you said, he had a solid performance, but nothing kind of jumped off. The on-field drills were solid. They weren't like spectacular. The combine numbers were solid. They weren't spectacular. But a guy that came in at whatever it was, 202, 203, around there, you were expecting to see a little bit more juice from Jadarian Price. But it'll be very interesting to see where he goes in the NFL draft. Some analysts think he's going to be a potential second-round pick. Some don't think there's going to be a running back selected in the second round, and the only running back that will be selected in the first two rounds is going to be Jeremiah Love, Price's teammate. But it was a solid performance. I would have liked to see a little bit more size from Price, because I'm assuming his playing weight is a little higher, as you said, and he probably cut a little bit of weight to run a faster 40. And he barely broke 4.5. So I would like to see a little bit more juice from Price. But overall, as I said, it could be similar to Emmett Johnson, where it could lend itself to a little bit more, little buying opportunity here. But overall, Price is labeled as a faller, but solid performance.
Yeah, as you said, Price weighed in at 203 for the combine. So yeah, I think a lot of times these guys are a little bit leaner this time of year. Hopefully they can now bulk up after this is all over with and they've done their track performances, right? So yeah, we'll definitely see. I still like him as a prospect. Combine wise, I just have him as a faller. All right, so we've had some nice comments on the show tonight, so we can talk honorable mentions and a little bit of live Q&A as well. I'll kick it off first, but I know Ethan, I know you got a good list as well you want to bring up, but I think I'd be kicking myself if we didn't bring up out of Arkansas, kind of a quarterback running a 4.36 in the combine. Vertical jump was 43.5, 43.5 inches vertical. Broad jump 11.2. So he just had an insane combine. as I mentioned, he is a quarterback. He's kind of one where, can he be maybe a future prospect? Maybe sit on the bench, a year or two or something, and all of a sudden he's a fantasy star. I mean, we know we love those Konami code quarterbacks, and you see numbers like that insane athletic score again at the combine. I think it would be remiss not to bring Taylon Green up tonight. But yeah, Ethan, comment on Green, and then yeah, I know you have a list of a few guys too.
Definitely deserves some love on this episode. If only athleticism equated to good quarterback play, he'd be a locked and loaded top 10 pick here.
That's right.
But yeah,
Trey Lance, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, hey, that's actually a good segue. I wasn't going to bring him up right off the rip, but speaking of Trey Lance, his if for those who don't know, his younger brother was at the combine, receiver out of North Dakota State University, same school that his brother Trey went to. But I wanted to give him some love too, because he actually, I mean, he dominated the combine. I mean, 6'3", 204, and his numbers are kind of off the chart. 4.34 40, 41.5-inch vert, 11'1" broad jump, 7 flat 3 cone, and a 4.15 20-yard shuttle. Another guy that came to the combine, wanted to show out his athleticism, and performed in every drill except the bench press. But he was a very explosive playmaker for the Bisons over there in North Dakota State. He had 51 receptions for 1,079 yards this year. But over the last, so in the last 2 years, 2,157 yards and 25 scores. So Bryce Lance, I just wanted to give him a little shout out, because he's a guy that he's a guy that you can throw a dart on in your third round of your rookie drafts, because you're looking at those high upside potential prospects. And a guy like Bryce Lance, even though he is, I believe, 24 years old already, so he is an older prospect. He's been in school for a little while, but a very, very athletic receiver that, hey, you never know. He could formulate into something for an NFL team.
Ooh, sorry, I got distracted with Dynasty trade talk.
Oh yes, I love little trade talk. Yeah.
I gotta get in the mind, change mind frame out of combine talk for a second. Love me some Bryce Lance, but let's talk this trade real quick. Okay, so we got a super flex format, traded Laporta 2026 112 and Shador for Brees and Ferguson. That's
is that Terrence Ferguson? I believe the tight end for the Rams.
T. Ferguson. Okay.
T. Ferguson. Yeah.
T. Ferguson. Okay. Yep.
So, and Brees Hall, obviously, he just got franchise tagged by the Jets, because that makes sense for them, because they obviously need a running back on an expensive deal. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's a tight end premium league. So obviously that brings Laporta's value down here. The 112 and Shador. So just looking at this, the best player in the deal is Brees Hall. The 112 in this class, I think it's going to be an okay prospect, but it's not going to be a locked and loaded stud at this point, anyways, from what I see. So there's obviously a lot of risk with the 112. There's a lot of risk with Shador Sanders. I think Laporta, actually, with the new offensive coordinator there, I think is going to feature Laporta a little more if he can stay healthy. I know he had that back issue, but obviously with Laporta, he's kind of had a down. He's trending down, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Obviously, I don't know the full context of the league, but Brees Hall is the best asset. And Terrence Ferguson, obviously, honestly, he could be huge in that offense, depending on what they do with the other tight ends in that offense. I know they like to use like 2 or 3 of them, but Terrence Ferguson has the most juice. And you know what they say about those year 2 jumps. So the upside for sure, in my opinion, is definitely the Brees and Ferguson side. I can definitely live without Shador and the 112. Laporta, I wouldn't mind keeping, but I think it's a relatively fair deal that I would lean towards Brees and Ferguson. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I think my first question is if you're competing, I don't know the full roster layout, but if you need like a stud running back and you're competing in a super flex, I like the Brees side. I think if maybe opposite, if you're kind of rebuilding, honestly, I like it for both sides. I think this could be one of those. Yeah, I think it's one where one's probably competing, one maybe is trying to get some pieces and rebuild and maybe make some more deals along the way. So I actually like both sides, and uh this commenter is competing. So that's my stance on it.
Yeah, because it's tough not knowing obviously the QB room and whatnot. But I'm sure and like I said, Shador, he's such a question mark. So the 112 is a question mark. The only I guess solid piece right there is Laporta. Team was named
Laporta Potty. That's good. That's a good name. I like it. Yeah, that's a funny one.
You had to get rid of that guy.
You said competing.
So competing. Yeah, Brees Hall, I think by far will help you in a non-premium league. I'm assuming if you're moving on from Laporta, you have another tight end other than Terrence Ferguson. But I said Terrence Ferguson has a lot of upside. He can make the jump. But yeah, you have to get rid of Laporta after your team's named Laporta Potty.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love digging the name. I guess the only if I gotta maybe fight you a little bit, it's just sometimes maybe overreacting to injuries. And I know when Laporta was healthy, I think he actually had a couple of decent games when he was out there. So he was getting re-involved in the offense, but he didn't have quite the year his rookie season was too. So
yeah,
kind of hit a slump.
Yeah, I think if he's healthy, he's gonna bounce back. Like I said, with the new offensive coordinator there, he does like to focus on the tight end. So it's I think it's a relatively fair deal. It's not like a deal I look at on either side like, oh my God, what are you doing? Right? It's kind of depends what you're looking for, depends what you need. And it seems like this team right here has a few extra assets to kind of piece together to get a stud in Brees. The only thing I don't like is the fact that Brees Hall got franchise tag and might be a New York Jet, who's probably going to be in one of the worst offenses in the league. So that's the one thing I don't like for if you're competing. Maybe I would have looked at another running back to help my competing build, but it's tough to say.
Yeah, no, great question. Love switching gears there too. So we could definitely talk any dynasty question trades right now. I'm trying to go back and forth between Instagram and YouTube. Maybe do another honorable.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Actually, no, we do have another Instagram question. We got Tanner Kaziel, tight end. Any thoughts on his draft capital? So I can't put it on the screen. It's Tanner. Let's see if he's on our commission's top. Did he make the top 2 rounds?
I'm just looking at these the ranks here. Hold on once. Yeah, tight end out of Houston. As we said prior, you want to see tight ends with athletic traits. These guys that you can throw the dart in your third round of your rookie drafts, or even after the rookie draft's completed, and you just look at these big athletic tight ends that you just want to put on your taxi squad or the back into your roster to see if they cultivate anything. But yeah, no, Tanner Kozol, I mean, he's 6'7", 247 pounds. There's just a behemoth of a man. And 4'7", 40.
Right, I'm 4'7". Yeah.
It's obviously it's not blazing, but I mean when you're 6'7", 247 pounds, I mean that's moving. But 36.5-inch vert and a 10'2" broad. That's a pretty impressive explosion for a guy that big. So a guy that's he's one of these guys that's probably not. I mean, as of right now, he's probably not going to be drafted till late in your rookie drafts, and we'll see how the NFL views him to see if he can be sneak into hopefully those top 4 rounds. But time will tell.
For sure. I mean, just to put that in perspective, my faller, one of them, Jadarian Price, his broad jump was a 10.4. So they're 2 inches difference. 6'6", 250-pound tight end, can get up pretty decently, comparing him to Jadarian Price's burst. So yeah, no, I think a lot of those under the radar tight ends can sometimes, those third round tight ends, they get playing time in the NFL, especially teams that do those 3 tight end sets as well too. But hey, we got another comment too. You want to comment there, and let me read this here as you.
Yeah, no, just to wrap a bow on Tanner here. Like, I mean, just based on kind of what some of the analysts scout him as, they view him as like an average backup or special teamer. So he seems like he has an upward trajectory to or uphill battle, I should say, to be a real fantasy asset for our dynasty teams here.
All right, we got another question here, a dynasty question, which we love here. Joined a new dynasty league this year, picked up a team with running backs JT, Pollard, Dowdle, Karma, and Jordan Mason. Do I need to make a move for a running back? All right, so we used to have an app where we did all this. We did this like one-on-one advice over like what moves, how to lay out a team for success, and really we talk it a lot is like what is what your whole roster construction, right? Are you competing? Are you rebuilding? So trying to know a little bit of the details. I'll speak on, obviously having JT is awesome. Dowdle actually might catch a nice contract this free agency too. Might be some teams that are going to pay up for Dowdle, so he's a sneaky player who might be a starter next year too. So I like JT. I like Dowdle. And then it gets maybe a little wishy-washy after that. So if you're slightly deep, you could try, or maybe try to get a pick in this year's draft class if you want to, get a young running back to maybe move away from like the Jordan Masons and the Pollards. But that's kind of my take. Ethan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so just reading this question, the first thing I pick up is the fact that they picked up a team with these running backs. So it sounds like this was an orphan team that another manager left. Okay, look, so I really like the receiving room. It seems like this team, just based on the running backs and receivers, it looks like it's going to be somewhat competitive. So that kind of changes the narrative a little bit with what I was going to say with the running backs. But your running back room is obviously aging with Kamara, Pollard. I know Rico Dowdle. I mean, he's getting up there, but I think he's going to have a chance to get a contract with another team. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's a stud. So depending on how your quarterbacks look, I think this team actually may be able to compete. Jordan Mason, he's going to be a wild card because Aaron Jones is going to get released, but I'm sure they're going to bring somebody in. The free agent running back class is good, but I would look to move Kamara, Jordan Mason, Tony Pollard. I would look to move those for future picks or rookie picks this year. If you're looking for a running back, I really wouldn't look in this year's draft class. Obviously with Mahomes and Lamar. So this team. Yeah, this team's pretty good. So I would look to yeah, okay. So it's obviously, I mean, this team's ready to compete. So
I would actually now looking at this, I would make a move. Now looking at this, when you got CD and JSN as your locked in starters.
Oh yeah,
you got Garrett Wilsons of the world, Ayuk even. If Ayuk gets a big contract, you can even flip. You might be able to get another stud running back if you need one here. You might need another more reliable running back here, but it's a pretty solid team. It looks like now looking at the team where you could be competing with all those stars. Maybe one of your piece wide receivers, you could get a decent running back, but Dowdle might be a sneaky guy coming up.
Yeah, if you can get, I mean, if you can get like another running back, a veteran back cheap, that's probably something. That's probably something I would do. I mean, Kamara, he's basically dead at this point. Jordan, like I said, Jordan Mason's kind of a wild card, but I don't. I think you'll be fine this year with JT, and I think we receiving core and quarterback should be fine with JT Pollard and Dowdle, but I would like a little bit more juice there. And obviously with Mahomes, I don't know how he's going to be, but it sounds like he's going to most likely be back week 1. You can probably touch on that a little bit better than I can, Aaron, but I know he's been pushing hard to come back. But if you, I mean, the biggest downfall for all our dynasty teams is hope, right? You don't want to just hope to compete, right? You should be able to look at your dynasty team that you're in, look at the top 5 teams, and be real with yourself. Do I have a logistic shot? If you have a logistic shot, if you have a legitimate shot, I would probably try to make a move. Obviously, I don't know what picks you have or whatnot, but there's a lot of aging running backs you can probably get relatively cheap that can help you compete.
For sure. Yeah, even a pick or a decent middle of the road running back. I mean, we just see David Montgomery just got to deal with Houston, right? You might be able to get some cheaper guys that are getting a little bit older too, so you might be able to sneak away with like a David Montgomery, give you a little bit of depth. But yeah, just love that question. Love talking. Man, look at this. We're in February talking trades. This is how you win your dynasty leagues right now, because you can kind of make some moves coming into the season, get ahead of your other league mates. I mean, we just talked to Ayuk. I mean, once he gets a free agent contract or something, that's going to be coming around the table. Or even before, if you can sneak away with guys like that. But yeah, love talking trades this time of year. Great segue into, make sure you're joining our Discord. We have tons of conversations on our Discord, on our Instagram. You can find our link there. We got all of our links. We can also send it to you if you can't find it. But yeah, loving the dialogue. We can still welcome any more questions where we go. Ethan, if you want to rattle off your last winners of this combine, and then we might be able to sign off after that. But definitely can welcome any other last minute questions.
Yeah, I guess I feel like we need to talk about Jeff Caldwell, who I didn't know who he was prior to the combine, but he showed out. Wide receiver, Cincinnati. He was actually a member of the Lindenwood Lions of FCS for his first 3 years, which was a Division II school who transitioned to Division I. And they just actually became eligible to compete in the FCS playoffs. You have that stupid rule where you have to wait 4 years or whatever. But this year in Cincinnati, not very productive, 32 catches, 478 yards, 6 touchdowns. But my God, is this guy athletic. He was, I believe, 6'5", and he ran a 4.31 40-yard dash, 42-inch vertical jump, and an 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. So definitely a guy, side speed specimen at his size. I feel like Jeff Caldwell had to be mentioned here. He's definitely a guy that gave himself the opportunity to be drafted. You see it in the NFL draft almost every year, where these NFL teams sometimes come the 4th round. They tend to just look at these RAS scores, the relative athletic testing scores, and they go for these side speed freaks, and maybe they can come out of the draft with a diamond in the rough, that kind of lower profile guy, but has all the physical traits. And Jeff Caldwell fits that bill. So a crazy good combine from the receiver out of Cincinnati.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted there. Yeah, I love honorable mentions this time of year too, because once you track some of these guys and you like them in post draft, and then you see or pre draft and you see them post draft, then you can really start seeing them make a depth chart when you put what you liked about him on tape or in college. Put him against, who's maybe the wide receiver 3 or 4 on that team. That's how you really make those splashes. Or even the Pukas of the world. I know we're on record being out there pretty high on Puka to beat out those guys. But this is the time of the year you start just putting guys on radar like the Jeff Caldwells, where can they beat out that guy who maybe that team does not have a strong second option or second or third option. So like Caldwell, Ethan, any more before we sign off for the night?
No, I think that's pretty much it. At this point in the process, I know I have a couple more people that we can discuss, but we've been on here. I just wanted to say that I love the dialogue that we had tonight. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody who commented and chose to spend their Wednesday evening with Sunday Surefire. We always embrace people chiming in, trade, whatever it is, a trade question, combine talk, NFL draft talk, whatever it is. Sunday Surefire is here to answer your questions. So thank you.
Love it, guys. Can't echo that anymore. Love the love. Make sure you help us out in return just for a simple subscribe on YouTube or wherever you're watching us at. Definitely would appreciate that. But yeah, we're gonna we keep bringing it all off season long. This is one of the most exciting times of fantasy football. It's really how you get your edge in all your leagues too, making all those behind the scene leg work, and where your wives and girlfriends get madder at you. Or, what are you doing looking at football in March and April, right? But it's a big time of year in the fantasy community. Yeah. So definitely love it. But yeah, that's all we got this week. We got more work coming out, more mocks we'll do. We'll talk free agency, potential landing spots, things like that. That Commish is working in on the lab as we speak tonight as well. So until next time, folks, peace.